Hey, I'm Kev Kermister and welcome to Power Oversteer. And in today's episode we're previewing round 17 and 18, the penultimate weekend of the season of the 2013 Indycar series. It is the Grand Prix of Houston, and heading into the weekend, Helio Castroneves has got 501 points in this Penske, 49 ahead of Scott Dixon and his Chip Ganassi. Simon Pagenaud of Smith Hamilton HP Motorsports has 431 points, 70 points behind. It's just a point ahead of Marco Andretti of Andretti Autosport. He's 3 points ahead of defending champion, his teammate Ryan Hunter-Ray. Justin Wilson has 393 points in his Dell Coin machine and 6th. Darren Kitty 7th for Chip Ganassi with 388 points. James Hinchcliffe and another Andretti Autosport car is in 8th with 376 points, 5 ahead of Will Power in his Penske. Troy Kimball rounds out the top 10 in his Chip Ganassi machine with 363 points, 70 ahead of Tony Kanaan in the KV Racing. EJ Viso of Andretti Autosport 304 points in 12th. 13th is Sebastian Bourdais with 297 points for Dragon Racing. Joseph Newgarden off the brilliant first podium in the Indycar series last time out in Baltimore is 14th with 291 points, and Takuma Sato down to 15th now with 278 points for AJ Foyt. Also, Simona Di Silvestro has 278 points in 16th after a great top 5 finish on her birthday in Baltimore. Acompter is 17th with 277 points. Graham Rahal 18th with 266 points. Disappointing season for Rahal, Letterman, Nanagan, and his teammate James Shakespeare behind him with 244 points. Tristan Vautier, the only rookie, full-time season rookie in this season, is 20th with 230 points. 30 points for Sam Smith, Peterson, Hamilton, Motorsports, something like that. 23rd is Sebastian Zavager for 196 points in his Dragon Racing car, and Oyo Serbia in 22nd with 185 points, who's now full-time till the end of the season in number 4 Panther. And so some news since the Baltimore Grand Prix almost a month ago now. Well, the sad thing is that Baltimore won't be included on the schedule for the next 2 seasons at least. With Mark Miles now wanting to end the season on Labor Day, they couldn't fit in a date for the Grand Prix of Baltimore to be held because it's held right in the city centre. It's football season. There's some college football games going on when they wanted to hold it. So yeah, it's now off the schedule and probably unlikely to return, unfortunately. But the big news, the best news I've seen in the IndyCar series this season, Juan Pablo Montoya, who drives the number 42 Earnhardt Ganassi racing car in NASCAR, where he was released and he's going to be replaced by Carl Lawson, the highly rated nationwide driver, next season, where Montoya's stepped at the chance to join Penske for next season in the number 2 car, which was occasionally driven by AJ Allmendinger this season. He's going to be there for the full season alongside Will Power and Helio Castroneves. And Montoya, who was linked with Andretti Autosport, they had talks, but Montoya called off the talks just before it was announced that Penske had signed him. And so Montoya, and he's been in NASCAR since 2006 now, the end of 2006, and he's won 3 races in NASCAR, 2 in the Sprint Cup, 1 in the Nationwide Series. Nationwide win in 2007 at the Mexico City circuit, which of course is perhaps going back to the F1 calendar next year. He also won 2 at Sonoma in 2007 and in 2010 at Watkins Glen. But he hasn't had the best time in NASCAR. In fact, his only finish in the chase, which is the top, well, it was the top 12, it's now the top 10 and 2 most biggest winners, or most wins in the season. But he was only in that for 1 season in 2009, where he finished 8th in the championship. Apart from that, it's been disappointing mid-season places or midfield places in the final standings. But Montoya has loads of pedigree in racing. Of course, he won the F3000 championship in 1998, just ahead of Nick Heidfeld. And in 99, he was the kart champion in his rookie season, the only guy apart from Nigel Mansell to do that. And the following season, he was the Indy 500 champion in 2000. John Williams in F1 in 2001 won the Italian Grand Prix. And in 2002, he won further races, but in 2003 it was his season to shine. He almost won the championship but finished third in the end. And it was the season that included win at the Monaco Grand Prix. In 2004 he signed off on Williams with a win at Brazilian Grand Prix before he moved to McLaren, which was a match made in hell, and he only won 2 races for McLaren, if I remember correctly. And then he won his last F1 race in Brazil in 2005. Actually it was 3 races, I think. And in midway through 2006 he left F1 after it was announced he was going to join NASCAR the following season, but he left very early and just buggered off to NASCAR for the remaining seasons. But he has won in NASCAR, he's won in Grand Am as well. He's won the 24 Hours of Daytona on his debut in 2007, in 2008 and beginning of this year. He is the only guy to have won the Indy 500, the Monaco Grand Prix and the 24 Hours of Daytona. He's one of only 2 guys, along with Mario Andretti, to have won in NASCAR, Grand Am, Indycar or kart and Formula 1. He is previous stint in kart and Indycar 2 seasons, 99 and 2000. He got 11 wins in that stint. He got 7 in 99 and 4 in 2000, along with 14 poles and 14 podiums. So, you know, the record of Montoya is incredibly impressive. You could hold it up against any of the greats, really. Especially nowadays where it's very hard to go to another series, and you know, you normally stay in a series for a long time, such as F1. But you know, he's been around the block and now he's come back to IndyCar. And it's great news. I expect fireworks next season, but it's going to be interesting to see if Montoya just have his old fireworks from his early days, of that fiery temperament, of that fiery driving style as well, very entertaining, of that balls deep driving style of overtaking as well. See if he's still got that in now his mid to late 30s. Other news, you got Jack Hawksworth, who tested for Ray Hall at Monaghan at Sebring on the 17th of September. I also tested the Sam Smith Firestone Indy Lights car as well. And Jack Hawksworth, he's in the Indy Lights series with Sam Smith. He won the 2012 Star Mazda Championship, and he's 11 points behind Serge Karam, heading into the penultimate round after 3 wins in his rookie Indy Lights season. He won the opener in St. Pete's, 1 in Toronto and 1 in Baltimore last time out. So he's quite good around the street circuits, which bodes well around the Grand Prix of Houston. He was actually born in Bradford, England as well, and he's one of those who's jumped across the pond to try and get into IndyCar and drive the 500 as well. And he's quite optimistic about that, doing that next season as well. There's also been a test at Fontana ahead of it being the season season finale even in a couple of weeks' time, and you know, drivers reported doing well, and you know, the test went relatively well as well. So that's enough Wales for now, and that's enough about the news and the introduction for this Power Oversteer. Let's go into some track facts now. So the Grand Prix of Houston, let's do some track facts about it. Well, it's actually called the Shell and Pennzoil Grand Prix of Houston. As I said, it only has 10 corners. It's a very short lap round. Here is a mixture of asphalt and concrete. As I said, it's held around the Reliant Park car park, a bit like I remember the F1 round held the Caesar's Palace car park in the early 80s. I remember that, or remember watching it now. I wasn't around then, I'm not that old, okay? And so yeah, it's sponsored by Shell and Pennzoil. It was first held in 1998, but this is the first IndyCar round it's been held at in 2013. It's going to be 90 laps, and it's held in Houston, Texas. And it's been previously called the Texaco Grand Prix of Houston, Texaco and Holline Grand Prix of Houston, and just the Grand Prix of Houston when it was held in the Champ Car Series in 2006-2007. It was previously a kart round in 1998 to 2001. Most wins around here: Sebastian Bourdais twice, 2006-2007, and Team Cool Green and Newman Haas Racing have the most wins by the team with also 2. Most wins for manufacturer Reynard with 3, or Reynard with 3. Length for the track is only 1.87 miles or 2.7 kilometers. It's got 10 turns. It's got very tricky chicane, a bit like Sao Paulo. The first couple of turns, then you got a sharp 90-degree left, even sharper right hairpin left after that. There's a nice curve, bend, and then a back straight towards another 90-degree left-hander. Then a nice fast right-hander. Then almost 90-degree left-hander again. Then an almost 90-degree left-hander. Right-hander and then left-hander. And then you just got a couple of fast left-handers to end the circuit. And as I said, it was held from 1998 to 2001. Held on a race on Houston's downtown streets adjacent to the George R. Brown Convention Center. So a very different place from where it is now. Heavy construction in downtown Houston resulted in the race not being renewed for the 2002 kart season. Then in 2005, Champ Car World Series announced that it was going to return to Houston in 2006. But this was held around this track at a temporary street circuit. And so it was also in 2006 the first race held on a street course to run at night in the history of Champ Car, its precursor series. 2003-2004, Champ Car ran under the lights at the brilliant Burke Lakefront Airport in Cleveland, Ohio. And also in 2006, the American Le Mans Series was held as well, the Lone Star Grand Prix. So it was only the second time that Champ Car and the American Le Mans Series had promoted their own events in the same city on the same weekend, joining the 2003 Grand Prix of Americas in Miami, Florida. So after this went off the calendar with the merger in 2008, there was MyJack Promotions had a handshake deal with Indycar to bring it back for October 2011, but the required sponsorship was not found by June 2010, so it wasn't on the calendar. But now it's been brought back, and it's going to be slightly tweaked, that course that I've mentioned. So it's going to be very similar, though. And so the past, as I said, first held in '98. Driver from Kitty won is a team called Green Reynard Honda. There was only 70 laps. The race was shortened due to heavy rain shower that caused poor visibility. It was about an hour and 30 minutes with an average speed of only 66 miles per hour. Then Paul Tracy won another team called Green Car the following year in '99 before Jimmy Vasser won for Target Chip Ganassi race in 2000. Then Gil Diaforan won his Penske racing machine in 2001. Then in 2006-2007 it was Sebastian Bourdais in his Newman Haas racing machines. And then the race, that average speed was up to 88.986 in 2007. So it's a double header. It's going to be very interesting. And that's some track facts about the Houston Grand Prix. Let's now do some predictions now. So some predictions for the Grand Prix of Houston, a double header. And the last one we had was in Toronto on the street course. And who won both of those races? Scott Dixon and Chip Ganassi racing machine. Before that in Detroit we had Simon Pagenaud winning and Mike Conway in the first race for Delcoin Racing. So expect Scott Dixon to be quite good around the street courses, and you can't rule out Simon Pagenaud after his win in Baltimore. And you've got the likes of Justin Wilson, Sebastian Bourdais right up there as well. So who am I going to predict to win it? I think I am going to give it to Scott Dixon. He has to put everything on the line now to get that championship away from Harry Neves, and I think he will win at least one of these races. For the other one, I'm going to go for Pagenaud to keep his run going. I think he's going to get his third win of the season. Obviously, he has to throw everything to get he has an outside chance for the title, so to maybe get right in there in the finale in Fontana. But I do expect Harry Neves to continue his top 10 finish streak. Hasn't finished outside the top 10 apart from Sao Paulo this season. He's completed every lap this season, just over 2,000 of them. So yeah, I expect Harry Neves to continue that. And so I think he might even wrap up the title this race, or this time round even. Because while I think Dixon might win the race, I think he might not do well in another. So yeah, maybe he could just clinch the title round here. And if not, he's going to have a very big lead heading to Fontana. So who else is going to contend? As I said, Justin Wilson and Delcoin Machine. As I said, Delcoin won in Detroit in the first race with Mike Conway. So I expect Justin Wilson to do very well as well in the Houston rounds, to get top 5s, to continue his good form. No, 4 top 10s on the trot now. So I expect him to do very well there. I also expect to see one of the Andretti Autosport cars up there. They have fallen back a touch from Penske and Ganassi, but I do expect one of them to be up there. Most likely recently has been Ryan Hunter-Reay, even though Marco Andretti did lead in Baltimore, but he ran out of tyres in the end, so he just dropped back to 10th in the finish. So yeah, I do expect Ryan Hunter-Reay to be right up there. Also, of course, you expect Will Power to be up there, but it's going to be hit and miss if he finishes a race without going into the wall, having an incident, a bit like in Toronto, a bit like in Detroit as well, so, and Baltimore. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what Will Power does this weekend in the adventures of Will Power. And so yeah, those seem to be the main contenders. Could also look out for Sebastian Bourdais, as I said, in the Dragon Race, and even Joseph Newgarden, full of confidence of that second place, his first podium in the Indycar Series in Baltimore. And who's going to do badly? Well, look out for Takuma Sato. Dreadful second half of the season. Since getting 7th in Milwaukee, 23rd, 22nd, 24th, 20th, 22nd, 23rd and 24th. Yeah, he might be under pressure to keep retaining his seat next season. He needs to perform, and unfortunately I don't see it working out for him. Notice I look for Ed Carpenter to be near the back as usual, but as I said, his pace is improving on these street courses, so maybe look for him to maybe even sneak a top 10 in one of these if it does get a bit crazy. As I said, it's quite a wide track, but places it can get a bit narrow, and he's quite inviting to make moves. So yeah, maybe look out for Ed Carpenter to sneak a top 10. There is chaos in one of these double header races, but I'm just looking forward to seeing the Grand Prix of Houston this weekend. It is going to be brilliant, I reckon. And the IndyCar Series has never been disappointing this season. So that is my preview of the IndyCar Series 2013 Grand Prix of Houston. Let me know your predictions in the comments below, but I'll be back with a review of what I expect to be quite a chaotic weekend for the IndyCar Series, but always entertaining. So I'll be back with a review of this. Thanks for watching. So till then, cheerio.